everybody, and welcome back to Interact Interviews. This week we have a very special interview. I am interviewing my baby brother. This is Ryan Rev McLean.
Hello.
My little brother. And so we're going to be talking about his gaming and also his theater career and all that stuff. So first, Ryan.
Yes.
My little brother. What is your first gaming memory?
My first gaming memory would have to be the NES, right? The original NES system, playing Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt, if we all recall that they were on the same.
They were on the
same cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
On a tiny TV.
In the basement.
In
right?
the basement,
yep.
right? Yeah, it was just us playing that. I would always prefer to play Luigi because he is the superior Mario brother.
So I was always stuck playing Mario.
Yes. That would be my first memory. I remember we never got super far in that game.
No, we didn't.
No.
I think we got farther in Super Mario 3.
Yeah, well, in Super Mario 3 you could get the flutes, which would we could get to the very last land on that one whenever we wanted to. Just never could pass any levels at that point.
No, I don't think we ever beat that one either.
Well, no, because I feel like we didn't have the hand-eye coordination yet for that, but yeah.
Probably not. We were pretty low. And then I remember we got the Sega Genesis, and we used to play Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah. And you were always... Didn't you always want to be Tails?
I wanted to be Tails, but then I usually had to play Sonic because
I wasn't as good. Yeah,
you weren't as good, and so to get through the level, Tails can't just get through the level on its own, because in those games, he's just basically an AI that you could take control of, but he couldn't move beyond where Sonic was ever. So
that's a good point. He couldn't go any farther than Sonic.
Well, he could technically. He could go, but he would go off the screen, and you wouldn't be able to see where he was.
You were going.
So you would just be running blind into whatever was going on back there.
Yeah.
Plus, he was immortal though, so I mean, you could do that as much as you wanted to. He could die as much as wanted to without any kind of problems. But
that's true. I do remember you playing Sonic and me as Tails, falling off the edge or dying all the time, but it didn't matter. You kept going, and I just kept getting dropped back off.
Oh yeah, well, it was anytime we were on one of those moving platforms in the top. What is it? It was the second world, not Emerald Green, but the second world where there's the. It's like technology, but then there's the flooded...
the pink flooding?
Yeah, the pink flooding area, and there's the little moving platforms, and while I would stand on that, it would keep dropping you into the water, and you would just fall down and die, and then it would just keep dropping you back into the water.
It did. It was pretty frustrating.
And I would just stay standing on it because it was so funny.
Yeah, well, that shows how we used to play video games together.
Yeah. Well, we also played Streets of Rage. And
we did.
Streets of Rage 2 and Streets of Rage 3.
We loved Streets of Rage. Do you remember we even used to, after we turned the game off, we'd play it imaginary. We'd pretend to be the characters.
Yeah, I was totally Skate.
Woo!
I was always Skate.
And I was always Blaze because she was the only female on the game.
Ever.
Yeah, but she was pretty badass anyway.
Yeah, Blaze was cool.
Yeah, we used to. We'd go around the house and pretend we were beating up bad guys. It was fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So Ryan, he pretended to be a little black kid on
Small little black boy on rollerblades. That was me.
And then let's see. Once we got older, we liked playing. Do you remember Gauntlet Legends? Loved that game.
Yeah.
What system did we play that on?
We played Gauntlet on the N64, if I recall.
Was it the N64?
Fairly certain it was the N64, and then later the GameCube, because it came out again on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first time was on the N64.
That was a great game. I was always the blue archer.
Yes, and I was always the wizard.
The yellow one.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Egyptian-themed wizard.
Yeah. And I was the archer that had a really heavy cape on top, and then she was wearing a loincloth on the bottom, because that's good character design. Whatever. Yeah. And then in
rampant sexism in games. Anyway.
And it hasn't gone away. But anyway, let's not talk about that.
What are you talking about? They revamped Tomb Raider. It's a lot better now.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I know, but it is still there. Anyway.
I mean, and the graphics are better, so her boobs don't look like this. They're gonna poke your eye out. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I grew up playing games with my brother. I had a period of time where I didn't game, but he continued gaming, and I think he's owned every single system almost that's been in existence. Almost every console. I remember at one time you had the Wii, the Xbox, the PlayStation 2. Didn't you? Like you had like.
Yeah. The only systems I've never owned in my life. I never owned a PS1, but I had friends who had one, so I always played it anyway. I never owned a Dreamcast, although I had friends who owned one and played that.
And I even forgot about that. I haven't.
Dreamcast was great and
time.
was way ahead of its time, and it's a shame because it was a superior system to a lot of systems. Poor Sega. And then I never owned an original Xbox.
Oh, so it was just Xbox 360.
Yeah, I started at Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
I started, that was in the middle of the huge console battles when they first started between what's better, PS2 or Xbox, and I firmly implanted myself in the PS2 camp for a long time, mostly because I just hated the massive brick controllers that the Xbox had, because you could seriously club someone over the head with one of those things and kill them. And it just wasn't, to me, it wasn't conducive to game playing because, I mean, like, you're playing, but, like, you need to reach a certain button and you have to move your entire hand to get to it. It's stupid. The Xbox 360 obviously fixed that. And at that point, I the console wars were still going on, but I stopped caring as much. I mostly just wanted to play good stuff. But I did own an Xbox 360, a PS3, and a Wii all at the same time, along with a DSi and a PSP, and
he worked at GameStop at one time.
I did.
So that would be why he had so many systems.
Yes, it was technically a part of my job to be familiar with everything that was going on in the gaming world and stuff. True. So.
All right. Well, so now I'm in the PS camp. I have a PS4. He's in the Xbox camp. He has an Xbox One.
Not really in a camp. It's the one I have right now.
Yeah. But, so what game are you playing right now on the Xbox?
Currently, I'm playing Far Cry 4, which is awesome, obviously, for all of you out there, I'm sure, who have already played it, you know. The Far Cry series has always been really good. Right now, the multiplayer is what I'm kind of addicted to. Me and my friend love to just go take out the fortresses, or try to. Like, right now, we're trying to get, just for fun, it's really early, but we're trying to take out Pagan Min's actual fortress in the game.
That's like the final.
Yeah, it's the last fortress, and we tried it like 6 times, and it didn't work. Mostly just because we're having a hard time figuring out how to avoid them hitting the alarms. And that sends in, like 6 helicopters, which is just ridiculous at that point. So, but it's a lot of fun doing that either way. I mean, the moment we first discovered that 2 people could be on a buzzer at the same time, and the person on the back of the buzzer could use any weapon, so pull out a sniper rifle and you have the best vantage point from a buzzer, is pretty awesome. Just before, in the middle of that, I also downloaded Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasm, because that's a series I really like playing. It's a fighting game, for those of you who don't know, with 2D graphics, but really great artwork. It's very Japanese, but...
It's very Japanese.
But it's cool, and I really like it, and it just came out. 3rd in the series of games, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
So, and besides just video games, my brother also enjoys DMing, and he loves playing other tabletop games.
Yes.
So, what are your favorite memories of like tabletop games or DMing, or your favorite games to do it for?
Well, I mean, favorite memory, probably, I can't remember if you were there or not, still had to be the very first time I played 2nd edition D&D at Luke's house.
In high school? Yes, I was there.
Yeah. Where our first mission was to rescue a daughter of a governor or something who had been kidnapped by cultists. and was going to be sacrificed, and we got into the battle, and we had a cleric in the group that carried a trident for some reason. Yeah, I know. But they were about to sacrifice the daughter, and so he thought, man, I need to stop them, so I'm going to throw my trident at the guy with the dagger who's going to sacrifice her. But he crit failed on the roll, and he hit the daughter with the trident instead, which did stop the sacrifice just because it ruined the whole sanctity of the moment. And we were able to rescue her, but she was severely injured. And we couldn't pull the trident out because it would do more damage pulling it out. So, and we didn't have the cleric wasn't a good enough healer to do that. So we had to just heal her with the trident still in her side and take her back to the city where there were better healers before we tried to remove it. We didn't get our reward money on that one.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
Man, tridents are dangerous.
Yeah, I stepped on a trident once.
That's what I was thinking of.
Good.
My brother used to own a real trident,
and
he stepped on it in his bare feet and had to get stitches.
Yep.
So, tridents are dangerous, people and children. Don't.
Only Poseidon should ever wield a trident, everybody.
Yeah, you're either going to accidentally stab the princess or whatever, or you're going to step on it and end up at the hospital getting stitches in your foot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Other good memories, the games I really like playing right now, I really love Arkham Horror. It's interesting. I have a lot of friends who like to play that and a couple of friends who kind of like to play it but also don't like to play it because it's a game that you will often lose at. It's a co-op game, so everybody's working together, but it's very hard sometimes. And you will play the game for 2 to 3 hours only to lose the game at the end, which for some people is very frustrating, obviously. I'm more about the experience and the fun of the moment and the storytelling that happens in it. Other people want to win. That's fine. But so it's fun to find out who's willing to play and put in the time and who's like, yeah, I'm done with this.
And they rage quit.
Yeah, well.
Or they just never play with you again.
Yeah,
they're like, I never want to play this game ever again.
I did make a guy rage quit at HeroClix once. That was funny.
How'd you make somebody rage quit at HeroClix?
Well, it was a tournament. It was the Infinity Gauntlet tournament that was going on. It was a monthly tournament, a big promotion from Marvel and that sort of thing. Essentially, the week before that had been or the month before that had been a booster draft tournament. So this one guy managed to pull a really awesome set of clicks to use in the tournament, and he dominated the entire thing. He took, I know he faced me, and I went, he dominated. It was 2 or 3 rounds, and I was pretty much going to be dead. And this was the first time he had played HeroClix, so he thought, oh man, I'm awesome at HeroClix.
Yeah.
But then the next part of the tournament was not a booster draft, it was you build your own team from your own collection and bring it to play with.
Yeah.
So he basically brought the same team that he got in the booster draft because that's what he owned.
Yeah.
And he also thought it was an awesome team. But in the very first round, I went against him, and I basically countered every single thing that he did because I brought a constructed team that had a strategy attached to it and everything like that. And he got so mad that he wasn't easily winning like he did last time that after that round was over, he had pretty much given up after I'd taken out most of his team. He was throwing the dice violently on the table to roll for things and stuff like that. After that, he never came back. We take a break in between each round in the tournament. He went out to go for a smoke and then never came back.
And you never saw him again.
No, I've seen him since then. He's
not in HeroClix tournaments though.
No, he's kind of a dick, but he's never really played HeroClix ever again. That's for sure.
Yeah. Don't get too cocky, kids.
Booster drafts and bringing your own strategies is a very different thing, folks.
Yep. So.
Oh, anyway.
Well, and my brother here and his good friend, Bald Nate.
Yes, Bald Nate.
That's really his legal name.
No,
it's Bald Nate. No, it's not. But that's, well, I'm just so used to calling him that.
What if everybody now just thinks, like, what if they think it's ironic that we call him Bald Nate and he's got, like, the biggest head of flowing hair?
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. There's a reason why we call him Bald Nate. Anyway, they have been running campaigns together for years now. They do D&D and everything, and now they're thinking about doing DMing.
Right. Yeah, we both DM a lot, and we really like to. I like going through all the prep and the fun of constructing a campaign. The two of us, he's run a GURPS campaign, a Marvel GURPS campaign that we played for about 8 years. We're actually thinking of bringing it back. We've been talking about that recently. But it was a really long campaign where he would run the main campaign, but other players, myself and one other guy usually were the two that would do it, would take turns running arcs as well, little story arcs and things for fun. But I had been looking online the other day, and I saw this post on Facebook where this one guy in New York became kind of a professional dungeon master for his local game shop just because of the fact that they were having a hard time finding people to run games for the game shop. And so he started doing that and noticed that there was kind of a call for it, and so he started doing it not just at the game shop, but outside of the game shop, and just started coming up with rates for himself, and people hire him out. And it's basically his main source of income now.
Oh, well, that's really cool.
Yeah. Obviously, that's New York, and it's a very different ball game than, like, here in Cedar City, Utah. But I looked into it, and he's not the only one who's done that kind of thing. There's been a lot of people have kind of gone into the whole DM for hire kind of business, essentially. And so we've just kind of been throwing around the idea, because here in Cedar City there's a lot of people who like to play tabletop RPGs, but they don't like to have to come up with the campaign or run it. They just like to play. So we thought, well, we like to run it, and we feel like we're pretty good at running it because we've got, between us, probably over 30 years of experience doing it. That we would just come up with a small little GM company that could come up with rates and be hired out to run different kinds of campaigns, because we're familiar with, like, Bald Nate's familiar with all versions of D&D. I'm familiar with 2nd edition up. We're also good with GURPS. We're good with World of Darkness, White Wolf. We're good with Savage Worlds, Star Wars role-playing game, all of the D20 system, obviously. A
lot of games.
I even know a Red Dwarf.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've got a Red Dwarf RPG. I've got a Firefly Serenity RPG.
And I do know that they have done games over Skype before.
Yep.
So, they can even if you're not in Cedar City, Utah, and you want to play a game but you don't want to dungeon master it, you can totally do it, because I know they've run campaigns over Skype because people moved away, but you didn't want to stop your campaign.
Well, normally what it would be is one of the players would Skype in and play from wherever they are, because one of our guys moved to California. But I actually think, after having done it many times, the easiest thing would be having the DM Skype in from wherever and have your group of players with you, and the DM can just be on the computer, because that's the easier thing, because then he can also just bring up schematics onto your computer to show you what's going on and things like that.
That's cool. So stay tuned for more information on that going on.
Potentially, sure,
yeah. So, and then, finally, let's talk. So, my brother here, he is a professional improviser.
Yes.
And if you don't know what improv is, I don't know, how do you describe it?
It's
making up stuff on stage.
Theater without a script.
Yeah.
It's performing on the spot, essentially. It's taking suggestions and then creating a work of theatric art that was not pre-planned.
Yeah, kind of like if you've ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's
yes.
improv.
That's short form improv, yes. Mm-hmm. We do short form and long form improv. Mm-hmm. Long form being slightly more theatrical. It's less games, more
long scene,
more
that they make up
longer scenes connected and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what my brother does. He's a professional improver. We're actually he's in what's called OTC comedy.
Yep.
Started out as Off the Cuff.
Yep.
And we're actually in their theater space right now.
Yes.
Which is why we have this cool red curtain.
Yes. This is the OTC Comedy Improv Training Center. We've been in here for about 5 years now. OTC has been an entity for about 11 and a half years. We're going on 12 years in January.
They just got back from LA.
Yeah, we just came back from the LA Improv Festival, where we performed on the main stage at IO West in Hollywood 2 times in 1 week. One on Wednesday, one on Friday, which was cool. We're getting ready for our 6th annual Red Rocks Improv Festival, which we created and host here in Cedar City, Utah, coming up on September 17th through the 19th. Actually, today is when we're going to be looking through the submissions and selecting what teams are going to be coming. So
okay, that's exciting.
So that's going to be cool. But
got a lot of submissions this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we keep getting more and more. Last year was the first year we had to actually turn teams away because we had too many submissions. So it's getting more and more like that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, not awesome that we have to turn people away, but awesome that there's enough people submitting that we have to turn people away.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man, my favorite part is turning people away.
Yeah.
No.
Rejected. They have big stamps like this.
I hope I break their hearts.
Big red ink on the applications.
No.
That's what they do.
But if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can find us on Facebook at Off the Cuff Comedy Improvisation or at the Red Rocks Improv Festival. Either of those are both
on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
They also have Twitter and an Instagram.
Both of those are OTC Comedy.
Yeah, and other things. But for my final question, how has gaming affected improv and vice versa? Like, has being a gamer helped you become a better improver, or helped you in that way? Or?
I think so, because, like, we were just talking about tabletop RPGs. I mean, tabletop RPGs, role-playing is essentially just doing improv, at least for me. Yeah, that's also why I like to DM, because DMing is a lot like improv, because it's essentially you have to be prepared to adapt to anything that the players want to do. Then nobody's ever going to follow exactly what you planned, so you have to be able to think on your feet and move with that. When it comes to improv, I mean, like, to be a better improviser, you need to be a citizen of the world, if you will, one of those kind of things, where it's the more you know about different things, the more rich of an improviser you're going to be. And so one of my strong suits is that I'm a gamer. I know a lot from the gaming world, nerd culture, comic books, all of that. And actually just this past Friday I played a character in a game called Bad Advice named Trevor Garrington, who is just a really intense guy who has the top score on all of the games at the arcade and uses video game knowledge as his way to give advice. So, they asked a question about parties, and I said the only party I know is Mario Party. So all you need to know is Bumper Balls, because Bumper Balls was the best in Mario Party. Basically, I was just giving my own personal opinions and all of the things, but as this dumb character named Trevor Garrington. But yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, somebody talked about, funny enough, they brought up Nazis at some point for some reason.
You never know what's going to happen in an improv show.
Yeah, so Trevor Garrington started talking not about the easy one, which is like Call of Duty World at War or any of the other recent World War II games. We talked about the OG, which was Spear of Destiny, and the original Wolfenstein.
Yeah, that Dad used to play when we were little.
That you would load up on MS-DOS and fight against Robo-Hitler.
Robo-Hitler, yeah.
Yeah, so,
that was pretty awesome.
Just Hitler's head in a jar on a big robot body.
It was. That was the final boss
of
the game. That was pretty, yeah.
And you would find secret passages by just running into the wall and moving along it because
you were just hitting the space bar to like fill the wall.
Because you would just go through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I remember watching Dad play that.
So yeah, I mean, like the topic comes. I mean, especially in our current culture right now, where gaming and nerd culture has become one of the norms and one of the cool things right now. You know, with comic book movies and all that. So it's often a suggestion that comes up in improv. So having that kind of background really helps and is fun because then I can go full out and just being the guy who knows everything about the background of Mass Effect or Halo. Even though I didn't even really play Halo, but I know all stuff about Halo.
Yeah.
I was never a huge Halo fan, but although Halo Reach was great.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. So, like my brother said, if you're interested, look up off-the-cuff comedy improvisation on Facebook or the Red Rocks Improv Festival, which is coming up next month. It is 3 days, and it's not very expensive, and you get to see all sorts of different performers.
Yep.
And it's usually pretty funny.
We might be having a
and they teach classes and
stuff. Yes. We might be having an improvised Tennessee Williams group coming in, so that'll be awesome.
So
they're really good.
They improv things like Cat in Hut and
They improvise a Tennessee Williams play. So
should be very dramatic.
It's funny. It's funny in how dumb dramatic it is. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So there you go. So you can look those up on Facebook, and then it's in Cedar City, Utah. If you guys don't know where that is, look it up on a map. Just kidding. It's in Southwest Utah. So it's where the Utah Shakespeare Festival is. And well, thank you. This is everybody. My baby brother, Ryan Rev McLean. Thanks for sitting down with me, Ryan, for doing the interview.
No problem.
For being my special interviewee. And, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like these interviews. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks.